Beth. Okay, so let me just quickly introduce myself. My name is Victoria Carlberg. I work in the graduate admission with the graduate admissions team as the Associate Director of Admissions and Recruitment. So for this session today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about one of our special programs, Accelerated Admissions, that benefits our undergraduate students who want to then pursue a graduate degree here at App State. But then in general, I'm going to talk about just attending and applying for and thinking about pursuing a graduate degree at any institution and the things that you might want to think about as you're beginning that pursuit. So let me get my slide going. And then I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so can you guys all see this over here? Okay, thanks. All right, so considering graduate school. So let's just talk about the basics for a minute. One thing that I think that I talk the most about with prospective students is what they want to do. So what is their end goal? Once they're done, what do they want to be when they grow up? Which seems like kind of a crazy question considering the age ranges of students that I advise. Some are fresh out of their undergrad, some are high school seniors, and some have been working in their profession for many years and are now deciding they want to do something different. So my first question is always, what is your end goal? When you grow up, what do you want to be? How do you want this to impact your life? So the first thing I ask students to do is to investigate the kinds of programs they want to get into. Do they want to go into education? Do they want to be a helping profession? Are they looking more towards business or accounting or administration in any of those fields? So that's the first kind of area that I send students to. Every graduate school has a list of the graduate programs that they offer and kind of where those fields will take you, what you're going to gain from that program, and when you leave, what you can anticipate doing with that degree. So that's the first place I would tell students to go, is to investigate, start your research. And there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to talk about when it comes to investigation when you're thinking about graduate school. But just for now, just the basics, start with your program. Next, start communicating. Contact those graduate school professionals, contact the admissions office, contact the graduate program directors, or the person that is administratively in charge that can direct you and who can best advise you, who can give you the ins and outs of what this degree is going to be, what you need to prepare, what kind of classes you might be taking, because you might find that this isn't right for you. And so you think you have in the back of your mind that what you want to do is that you want to be a social worker, but then when it boils down to is, I don't really want to be a social worker. What I really want to do is I want to be a counselor. And I thought it was the social work realm. And so that's what you get when you start having those communications. A lot of graduate schools will have events that you can attend where it gives you an opportunity to hear from graduate students, from a graduate admissions perspective, and then also from graduate program directors. So for us here at App State, those are called First Fridays or information sessions. And that gives you a chance to meet with these individuals and to ask questions, to get into the weeds on some things that you won't find in the website. And then begin to plan. Start planning out what it is that you need. What do you need to gather? What information is going to be required? What materials are going to be required? What kind of funds are you going to need? And so we're going to touch on all of these things, but those are just my three top tier: investigate, communicate, and plan. And that's how we get started. So, sorry. I think next to talking about graduate programs, which we'll get to, the next question that we get the most is financial support. So how am I going to cover this? Graduate school isn't super cheap. And for many schools or for many graduate programs, it's going to be loans. You're looking at taking out student loans. So your FAFSA, completing your FAFSA, getting in touch with your financial aid advisor through the financial aid office at the school that you're interested in, and beginning those conversations. In general, you'll find that most graduate programs and graduate schools have things like graduate assistantships. So that's working within a graduate program or working within the school in general, that funding comes through a graduate school fund and pays you like a job on campus. Research assistants, so that's working with a faculty member on their research. And then teaching assistants, so teaching usually undergraduate courses in the field that you are pursuing as a graduate student. Then there are scholarships. So these range from school to school. So for the graduate school, we have 3 major scholarships. We have the Provost Scholarship, the Chancellor Scholarship, and we have our Diversity Scholarship. So all of those are, while they do a lot for students, there are a limited number of them. But as you look at different institutions, you're going to find that the number of scholarships that are available are going to vary. Outside of graduate school specific scholarships or institutional specific scholarships, you'll find that many programs or colleges themselves, so like the College of Ed or the College of Arts and Sciences, that they have their own scholarships that they can offer that are separate of the funds that come through a graduate program or the graduate school. So if that's something that you need, if you're looking really into it, then I begin those conversations early. As I said, communicate. When you start communicating with graduate program directors and the people that make the decisions for the program, let them know who you are, let them know your interest in the need for the scholarships and the want for the scholarships, and what's going to make you a good representative of that program. So you're going to sell yourself at the same time to say, hey, you want to help fund me because this is what I can do for you. This is how I will represent this program. Lastly, we have our in-state scholarships. So that is where if you are an out-of-state student, and I don't know how many of those we might have, but if you're an out-of-state student, then you're going to pay out-of-state tuition. But for us specifically, we have an in-state tuition scholarship, and I know that many other universities in the NC system also have this, where the school will pay the difference of the out-of-state portion so that the student only pays the in-state portion of the tuition. So that's something to keep it in mind. And again, all of these are limited. So I tell students, start investigating early, start putting your plug in early and begin those conversations early so that when your application rolls through, they know who you are, they know your interest and your dedication level, and that kind of helps to move you to the forefront of who's going to receive those. So talking about what we need to apply to graduate programs. So it's going to vary from institution to institution. In general, it's going to be so for like if you're a domestic applicant or an international applicant, most of the requirements are going to be the same. There are some different nuances if you're international, but mainly you're going to need the application fee. So how much is that? And that varies. So I've heard ours is $65 here at App State. I have heard them being upwards of $100, and I think that it just depends on where you're applying. So keep that in mind. Some institutions will offer waivers. I know for us, we offer a waiver for McNair scholars. Also, we offer a waiver for our active military and veterans. So that helps with the application fee portion. I guarantee that other institutions do the same thing. So as you're looking, and if this is something that appeals to you or is a need base for you, then I suggest that you go ahead and reach out and start seeing what kind of things that they can do to support you. Official transcripts. Not all schools require official transcripts upon applying. This is important because for those schools that do, you need to have your official transcript sent from the schools that you've attended. And that can range. So for us, it is anywhere you've attended in the past 5 years, or anywhere that you have earned a degree. But I know for other institutions, it's an unofficial transcript that you can upload yourself into your application. So these things vary across institution to institution. So that's something you might want to keep in mind as you're looking. Transcripts can become costly if they're requiring official transcripts. So you want to, as you're planning and as you're preparing and getting those things together, you want to think about writing down who needs what and what that cost might be for you to apply. Recommendations, all schools are going to require recommendations. First and foremost, I say this every time, and it seems like this year we've had a lot of these, so I'm going to re-emphasize recommendations. These cannot be friends and family. They should say nice things about you. Don't use them. That includes your pastor or your therapist. You need to have professors, professional organizations where you've done internships, employers, volunteer work. Those are the things that we're looking for. We're looking for who can tell us about you as a student and what kind of graduate student you're going to be, and what will you bring to this program. So that's what we're looking for when we think of letters of recommendation, people that can speak to your abilities. It depends on the program. For our programs, most of us require 3. There is one for our doctoral program requires 4. Those and how they are received will depend on the institution. I know for most of us, they are uploaded through the application by the recommender. So as you're completing your application, there will be a section that says, insert your recommender information. There's a button that you click that says send to recommender, and it will go to them, and they will be able to upload either a form or a letter. And that just, again, depends on the institution. The GRE, the GMAT, and the MAT, it's like the bane of my existence. I think that anybody who has had to take an entrance exam feels like they've lost a portion of their life that they'll never get back, and also the money that they'll never recoup from it. But luckily, most of our institutions have waived these tests. There are some that use these tests as leveling students for scholarship purposes. For some of our programs that are more competitive, so for us, it would be speech language pathology. The GRE is always going to be required. That's just part of how they review applicants. So they take that into consideration with the GPA. But a lot of schools across the board in the UNC system have gone ahead and just done away with these. For Appalachian State, we have not done away with them completely, but we have set a requirement where there are waivers available that you may not need to take one. And it depends on several factors. And so there's a link on our website that tells you, here's the exam waiver requirements for each program, also for the graduate school as a whole. So if that's something, so I would look into that. 1, if your program requires it. 2, if they don't, what are the waiver requirements? If there are waiver requirements, and will this impact you receiving a scholarship? So those are things that you want to think about as you're planning. And then supplemental materials. Most programs require something like a letter of intent or a personal statement or a writing sample. For our doctoral program, we're looking for an essay in APA format. So look at those specific supplemental requirements. You want to get those ready ahead of time. What you want to do is prepare, because when you go in to do your application, and like most of us, we wait till the last minute, you don't want to realize while you're, 30 minutes left before the application closes that you also have to submit a writing sample, and then you've got to go searching for a good one that you did when you were an undergrad, or when you were doing a previous degree, or when you were writing for a professional organization, something that represents your writing abilities. So get those things in advance, get them gathered so that you know that you're ready once you begin that application. So let me switch real quick to accelerated admissions. Accelerated admissions for us is for our current undergraduate students. So these are transfer students who have come to Appalachian. These are first-year students who have come to Appalachian. Anybody who is a current undergraduate student in Appalachian gets to benefit from this program. There are some requirements involved, as you can imagine, but just kind of the nuts and bolts of it is that you receive early admission to graduate school. You get to take up to 4 graduate classes that can cross-count towards your undergraduate and graduate degrees. And then you get to gain a meaningful experience with your peers. So you will be taking these graduate courses with current graduate students that gives you insight into what that program is going to be like, what your peers are going to be like, what they're doing, what their research is, and where they're going to go once they complete their degree. So as you begin your official graduate degree, you have an idea of what opportunities await you. Currently, these are our accelerated admission programs that are available. We've added several. I'm not going to read them all to you because this is going to be available offline or not live, so that you can go back through these. But you can see there's a plethora of them and a lot of choices to choose from. So what you get. As I mentioned, you get to take up to 4 graduate classes as an undergrad. That means that you are going to pay undergraduate tuition for your graduate courses, which is a significant difference. These are going to cross count, which means that you will finish up your graduate degree a semester and a course early, so almost a year that it will take you to complete the degree instead of a year and a half to 2 years, because you'll have already taken those 12 hours. You don't have to take 12 hours. You could only take 3 hours and still qualify. I mean, you don't even have to take any hours. You still get the benefits. You get the GRE waived, you get to get early admission, and you have the opportunity to take these classes. So it's something that I wish, as an undergrad from here, I wish that we had had this program, because maybe then I wouldn't have gone to a out-of-state private university. And it might have financially benefited me way more than paying that tuition cost. But this is a fantastic program. I would say that a lot of our undergraduate students who are, teetering on whether they want to complete an undergrad or graduate degree or not, once they start getting into this and they start investigating it, then they start to realize the benefits of it, especially for those undergrads who are doing research and they want to continue that research. So our exercise science students who are working on research projects as undergrad who are about to graduate, they don't want to leave. They want to continue and see it through. So accelerated admissions is a great way for them to just move right into their graduate degree and pick up where they left off the semester prior and finish out their research. So again, what accelerated admissions does is it saves time, it saves money, and it gives you an opportunity to start investigating a graduate program before you even really start the graduate program. And hey, let's be honest, this doesn't mean that you're locked in. Plans change, things change. That's going to happen. So if you start getting into it and you decide this isn't right for me, then that's something that we are here to work with you and to help you out with and to help you investigate new opportunities, because you never know what might change along the way. So just to go back, so talking about graduate programs, as I mentioned, you have a list on any graduate school website of all of the graduate programs that are available. This is where I go back to investigating. Look at what they are. What are they going to do for you? How is this going to help you in the long run? As you look at each program, check out their deadlines. And if they say that they have priority deadlines, follow those priority deadlines. Don't wait. You can also see what courses they offer, what kind of things you're going to be taking. They give you descriptions of them, what the application requirements are going to be, if waivers are available. These are important things to remember as you're planning. And then reach out, find the contact for whoever is in charge or whoever, is the contact for the graduate admissions. So whether you're thinking 2 years out or 4 years out, go ahead and begin those conversations. It's never too early to start planning. Like I said, I've had high school students who call me and say, okay, I know that this is what I'm going to study in my undergrad. what can I do in my graduate degree? And then also go through their website, go through the graduate school's website and check it out. Look for things that are there that are available. For us, if you wanted to visit, look at all of the information sessions that we have. Look at the things that you can attend and sign up for, where you can get that more in-depth information and get into the weeds with program directors and the admissions counselors to be able to support you along your journey. And then while this is a very general session, it would behoove me not to say we look forward to you being a mountaineer and coming here. While we don't discriminate, we would love to have you here, and I would love to see your faces in the future. So that's the end of my presentation. I hope I didn't speed through it too fast. I think when I'm talking about this, it's all I do, and I just get going. But so let me leave room for questions and answers. Stop sharing and open it up to you guys. Okay. No, Sandra, we do not offer a master's degree for religion. And I'm trying to think. I don't know that I can say with confidence that there's a degree that I would point you to that would be similar. And that's one thing that I do talk to students about is, you know, sometimes it's just not like we just don't offer what you want, and that's okay, you know, and sometimes our programs aren't the right fit, and that's okay too. So I don't want anybody to sign up for something just to sign up for something and then get here and it not be what they're looking for. So that's just me being honest. And then you asked, oh, so yeah. So if we don't have it, then my advice would be is to start looking at other graduate schools and see if there is something that fits what you're looking for. It may be philosophy and religion. It may be mythology. I mean, there could be like realms of religion that they offer, and that sometimes like within those kind of master's degrees, they have specific concentrations or they have an interdisciplinary field. And that allows you to pick and choose kind of the courses that you need to fit in that tailor to what you want to do, but also to meet those graduate school requirements that you need to complete the degree. Do we have any other questions? Or if there's anything I missed? It's a quiet group on a Saturday. I'm 2 cups of coffee and a Red Bull in.
Oh, wow.
So
you're up and moving.
I had marathon Zoom meetings yesterday, so
I understand, definitely.
I felt like I needed that kick today.
Wonderful. Well, if we don't have any other questions.
Well, what I can do is, my information is on that slide. I will also put it in the chat box. I am happy to answer any questions that you have. And again, even if they're not App State related, that's okay. It doesn't, you know, I'm here to help. And so I've looked at personal statements for students and resumes for students and, you know, things to help them along the way. So like I said, we don't discriminate if you don't want to come here. We are still here to help.
Sandra had another question. So if she wanted to teach religion at a college level, what direction would Sandra need to take?
So, okay, so teaching at the college level depends. There are some, it's usually based on the college, like arts and sciences or like the College of Business. So I can say for the College of Business, they're looking for their instructors and faculty to have PhDs. to teach graduate level courses. For undergraduate level courses, usually just a master's degree would suffice to teach the community college level master's degree. You need 18 hours in that specific area of graduate coursework to teach, to make you like qualified in that field. So there's a couple of ways that I would go about that. One is I would look at maybe the higher education program if I wanted to teach in higher education, or the community college and university certificate, teaching certificate, because that's going to give you the background or the foundation for what you need to know when teaching that population of students. It is very different teaching in higher ed than it is teaching in K-12. And the nuances are different. You're going to have, what's required is going to be different, what's required of the student, and the kind of things that you might encounter will be very different. So I would suggest, so if you wanted your master's to say, I have a master's of arts in religion, so then that's what you would seek. I would follow that up with like a certificate in that community college and university teaching. Or I would go ahead and do a master's in higher education and then find the 18 hours in religion that I wanted to teach. So you could do those at another school if I was like trying to keep you here, which that's what I'm trying to do. So let me just be honest. But generally speaking, you could do any of that anywhere. So yeah, religion is difficult in K-12. I will say that I do remember teaching a religion course in middle school, and that was something. I think I still have my Venn diagrams that show how the religions intersect. I don't know that seventh graders really like take it all in, nor do they see the purpose of it. But, if you're looking for a challenge, that's the way to go. All right, any other questions? I know that someone has a burning question that they don't want to ask, but just go ahead and throw it out there. Nothing.
So if I were to get my bachelor's in secondary English education, would you think it would be a smart idea to get my master's in English or higher education?
Okay, that's a great question. And that seems to be like on my radar this week, which is odd that you asked that. So we have a lot of undergrad secondary education who are doing English that are applying accelerated admissions to our English master's program with the hopes of teaching at the higher ed level. Those students, because they'll already cover up to 4 classes of their English program, have the space to do that certificate in community college and university teaching. So that's what I would substitute. I don't know that I would do it in higher ed if my focus was in English.
Okay.
I think I would do that certificate just to get that foundation for teaching in higher ed.
I just got into ACEs too for transfer students, so that's
congratulations.
Pretty cool.
Yes.
There is another question in the chat. It says, does the speech language pathology master's normally take 2 to 3 years? Is it normal for people to get into that master's program early?
So Kinsley, that program is not, and let me just say it's not an accelerated admissions program. And it is one of our more competitive programs. It is a 2-year program straight up, cohort based. When you start, you take your classes with your cohort every semester. The application opens August 1st for all of our graduate applications. for speech language pathology, and we have several, and this is just something to keep in mind if you're looking at some of those HPC programs or the speech, the helping professions of speech language and social work. Their deadline is February 1st, and that is a hard deadline. That means that, and so I imagine that there are other schools that have deadlines like this, but it is, if everything is not in by 11:59, you won't be considered. So it's intense, just from the application. But with that being said, I know students who super plan ahead and start their applications in August, and we start receiving things all the way through up until like January. And then the earlier you get things in, the earlier you become complete, the better it is for you. So for speech language, you would need to, okay, so like I said, the application opens in August. You could create your account then. Oh, well, when do you graduate? Let me ask you that. That's a kind of that will change my response. Like with your undergrad, when do you complete your undergrad? Okay, so you're looking at maybe starting in fall of 23, if I'm counting those years right. Yeah, 21, a senior in 22, you'd be a graduate student in 23. So in August of 22, August 1st, the application for fall of 23 will open. You can start your graduate application then. You can create your account, begin putting that information in, start talking to who you want your recommenders to be. And then you can go ahead and you don't have to submit right away. We can wait for things to trickle in. I would also just, on the rare case that they decide to waive the GRE for that year, I would keep an eye out for those updates on the exam waivers that they are now one that is going to consider it, and not putting a lot of stock in it, but there may be a chance. So you also want to give yourself plenty of time to take the GRE if it is required and something you need to study for. So again, you can start that. I would take your GRE before January. Like that's a firm for that, so that we get your score in time and we make sure that your application is complete in time to be reviewed. We'll be holding additional information sessions that are just graduate school, applying to graduate school here at App, and the first Fridays that we talked about. So I would consider signing up for any one of those. You can do it, you don't have to be a certain year, or you don't have to have completed your bachelor's degree to sign up for these. We're not looking for that. We're here to help you along the way. And you can sign up for as many of these as you want that are available to help you along the way. So I would consider doing that. Yes, so the deadline for you would be February 1st, 2023 at 11:59 p.m. Like I want to be super specific and very clear. If you try to do it at 12, it will not let you go through. And then we get these really sad emails and with sad responses. Any other questions? No? Okay, well, like I said, I'm going to put my contact information in the chat box. You can also reach us at grad admissions and our phone number.
All right. Well, thank you, Victoria. A lot of really good information. I did not know about that college and university teaching graduate certificate. I might actually look into that.
You can sign up for it too.
Okay. All right. Wonderful.
We're currently accepting applications.
Okay.
Sam.
Better be in touch about that one for sure.
I was thinking about it too.
Sam and I'll do it together.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, everyone. Well, have a great weekend, and thank you again for being here. And Victoria, hopefully I'll see you on campus sometime in the near future.
Oh my gosh, I'm here every day, please.
Okay.
A new face would be nice for a change.
All right. Next time I'm over there, I will stop in and say hello.
Excellent. Hey, you guys take care. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the weather today.
It's beautiful. Enjoy.
And thanks everybody for coming. We appreciate you showing up.
Definitely. All right. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.